one thing that's often brought up, and I apologize in advance because I'm not very knowledgeable at the topic, but one thing that's often brought up when discussing the historical legacies of either party is a sort of party shift that's occurred over time, say since the Civil War to now. Do you think that your idea of the historical legacy of the Democratic Party and maybe even the Republican Party fits in with that ideological shift that occurred between the Civil War and the present?
So the question is a very good one and has to do with the fact that was there a big switch between the parties? Typically, the people who say this argue that since the 1960s, in response to the civil rights movement, the parties, if you will, swapped platforms. And the proof of this is very simple, that the racist dixiecrats, I define a dixiecrat as somebody who joined the Dixiecrat Party or voted against the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 65 and the Fair Housing Bill of 68. So this is a dixiecrat. The racist dixiecrats became Republicans. Now, this is an empirical question. Did the racist dixiecrats become Republicans? In my last movie, Death of a Nation, I say, let us count. And up on the screen go the 150 or so names of the racist dixiecrats, and they're all there. And then we count how many of the racist dixiecrats became Republicans, and the correct answer to that question is 2. In the House, one guy, Albert Watson. In the Senate, one guy, Strom Thurmond. And all the other racist dixiecrats lived and stayed and died in the Democratic Party. They are lionized to this day, and there are buildings in Washington, D.C. named after them. So the fact of the matter is that there was no big switch. Yes, blacks did switch from Republican to Democrat, but they did that in the 1930s in response to the economic promises of FDR and the New Deal. That had nothing to do with race. It was an economic proposition through and through. So what I'm getting at is that things are known to us as intelligent people that are not true. And this, I think, puts a lot of intellectual pressure on us and on me, because when I say things on campus, people look at me like, he's crazy. Why? Because that's not on the History Channel, and that's not in Wikipedia, and that's not what my professor said, and that's not what I read in Barnes & Noble. And the reason I like to bring these things down to empirical particulars is because they're checkable.